There are moments when even gods hesitate. When Superman pauses mid-flight, when Batman's hand freezes over the Batarang, when Wonder Woman's sword stays sheathed. Moments when the universe itself seems to hold its breath, waiting to see if the hero will cross the line between salvation and damnation. Barry Allen had lived through such moments before, had created them even, when he ran back through time to save his mother and birth the Flashpoint paradox. He'd sworn never again. He'd promised Bruce, promised himself, that some tragedies must stand, that time's river flows one direction for a reason. But when he watched Superman fall, really fall, not the theatrical defeats or temporary setbacks, but the final, absolute end as Darkseid's Omega beams disintegrated the Man of Steel atom by atom, while the Lord of Apocalypse laughed and Earth burned, Barry Allen broke his promise. The Speed Force screamed as he ran, not the usual welcoming surge of lightning and motion, but a sound like reality tearing, like the universe begging him to stop. Barry pushed harder, faster. The cosmic treadmill beneath him shattered. The walls of the Flash Museum became streaks of red and gold. Central City disappeared. Earth disappeared. He ran beyond the multiverse's edge, into the space between spaces where the Speed Force was born, where time had no meaning and causality was just a suggestion. He'd done this before. He could do it again. Save Clark, stop Darkseid, prevent the invasion. Simple. The Speed Force had other ideas. Barry felt it the moment he exceeded theoretical maximum velocity, the instant his vibration frequency surpassed what reality could contain. It wasn't pain exactly. It was the sensation of being everywhere and nowhere, every, when and never. He was running through Central City in 2025, fighting Captain Cold in 2018, meeting Iris for the first time in 2012, dying in Crisis in 1985, being born in 1989, all simultaneously, all impossibly, all real. And then the multiverse fractured. Not like Flashpoint, where one timeline split into a singular alternate reality. This was total catastrophic structural failure. Barry watched, helpless despite his speed, frozen despite his motion, as 52 Earths became 5,000, then 5 million, then an infinite cascade of bleeding, merging, collapsing realities. He saw worlds where the Justice League were villains, worlds where Darkseid had already won, worlds where Superman lived but Earth died, worlds where he, Barry Allen, had never become the Flash, or became something far worse. The Speed Force, that beautiful golden lightning that had defined his life, turned crimson and black. It hemorrhaged across dimensions like an arterial spray across an infinite canvas. Barry tried to stop running. His legs wouldn't obey. The Speed Force had him now, puppet and puppeteer both, forcing him to witness what his heroism had wrought. When he finally collapsed, and collapsed was too gentle a word for the way reality spat him out like poison, Barry found himself face down on cracked pavement under a sky that was subtly, terrifyingly wrong. 2 moons hung where one should be. The sun was too red, too dim, and Metropolis. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. Barry pushed himself to his feet, his scarlet suit scorched and torn, lightning still crackling across his body in erratic, painful bursts. Metropolis rose before him, but not the gleaming city of tomorrow he knew. This Metropolis was a fortress. Massive towers of black stone and steel stretched toward that wrong-colored sky, their architecture brutal and efficient. Statues lined the streets, not of Superman in his hopeful pose with cape billowing, but Superman kneeling, fist raised, face carved in stern judgment. The S-shield everywhere but rendered in black and red instead of hopeful blue and gold. And beneath each statue, carved in letters that made Barry's stomach turn, peace through power, order through strength, submit to save yourselves. No, Barry whispered. No, 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 this can't be. Citizen, the voice came from behind him, cold and mechanical. You violate Metropolis curfew. Identify yourself. Bari turned. 3 figures in armor that were sleek black metal with glowing red accents, Superman's colors perverted. They carried weapons that hummed with Kryptonian energy signatures. Through their helmet visors, Bari saw ordinary human faces, but their eyes held the glazed certainty of true believers. "I'm the Flash," Bari said, raising his hand slowly. "I'm a hero. I need to speak with Superman. Clark Kent, where is he?" The lead soldier's expression didn't change. "The High Commander does not take audiences with vagrant speedsters. You will come with us for processing, or you will be processed here. Your choice." High Commander, not Superman, not even Kal-El. The title hit Bari like a physical blow. He'd done this. Whatever this reality was, whatever had twisted Clark into a tyrant, Bari's shattering of the multiverse had made it possible. Maybe this was a dark Earth bleeding through, or maybe this was what his Earth had become when he broke reality's spine. "I don't want trouble," Bari said, and he meant it. "I just need to understand what happened. When did Superman become?" 17 years ago, a new voice interrupted, female and cold. "When Batman betrayed the Justice League and murdered Wonder Woman. When Superman realized that humanity needed rulers, not heroes. When the weak were finally brought to heel." Bari spun. She dropped from the rooftop with warrior's grace, armored boots striking pavement with precise force. At first glance, she looked like Diana. Same tall, powerful frame. Same dark hair, though this woman wore it in a severe bun rather than Diana's loose waves. Same armor aesthetic, but where Wonder Woman's equipment spoke of ancient Amazon honor and gold-trimmed hope, this woman's gear was matte black tactical excellence. The woman who wasn't Diana studied Bari with eyes that were Diana's exact shade of blue but held none of her warmth. "You're not from this Earth," she said. "It wasn't a question. Your molecular vibration is wrong, unstable, and your speed force signature," she tilted her head, "it's bleeding across multiple frequencies. What did you do, speedster?" "I tried to save someone," Bari said quietly, "and I broke everything instead." The woman's expression shifted, not quite sympathy, but recognition of a familiar burden. "Then you're either the stupidest hero I've ever met, or you actually understand what it means to carry the weight of impossible choices." She turned to the armored soldiers. "Stand down. I'm taking this one to the fortress." "Lady Valkyrie," the lead soldier protested. "Protocol requires all unauthorized." "Are you questioning my authority, soldier?" Her hand moved to the sword at her hip, not the godkiller Bari noticed, but something that looked like it could kill gods all the same. "Because I helped write those protocols. Before you were born. Before your parents were born. So, unless you'd like to test whether Superman's armor protects against Amazon steel, you'll return to your patrol." The soldiers saluted stiffly and moved away, speaking into communication devices in hushed, nervous tones. Bari watched them go, then looked at the woman who'd saved him from processing, whatever that meant. "Lady Valkyrie, you're not Wonder Woman." "Wonder Woman died 17 years ago," the woman said flatly. "Killed by the last man who believed gods should be kind. I'm Donna Troy, Diana's younger sister, the only Amazon left after Superman's purge of the Messiah." She gestured sharply. "Walk, talk. If your story is interesting enough, I might help you. If it's not, I'll kill you myself before Superman's regime turns you into another obedient drone." Bari fell into step beside her, his mind racing faster than his feet could manage right now. Donna Troy. In his reality, Donna was Troya, had been Wonder Girl, had died and returned, and found her place among the teen titans and the hero community. But this Donna was harder, colder, a warrior who'd survived something unspeakable. They moved through streets that were eerily clean and orderly. Citizens walked in predetermined patterns, their clothing uniform and practical. No laughter, no music, just the quiet efficiency of a population that had learned obedience. "This is what Superman built?" Bari asked, unable to keep the horror from his voice. "This is what Superman saved," Donna corrected. When Batman went rogue, he had contingency plans ready. You know how Bruce was, paranoid, prepared for everything. He activated a virus that would have killed every metahuman on Earth, Superman included. Clark tried to reason with him, tried to find another way. Bruce didn't listen, so Diana confronted him. Donna's jaw tightened. Barry saw pain there, old but never healed. Bruce had a plan for Diana, too. Kryptonite-laced Godkiller blade. Max Lord's mental programming as backup. When Diana walked into the Batcave that night, Bruce was already gone, replaced by a weapon specifically designed to kill gods. She didn't see it coming until the sword was through her heart. God, Barry whispered. Superman found them 30 seconds too late. Diana is dead on the Batcave floor. Batman standing over her body, not Bruce anymore, just the cowl and the mission and the absolute certainty that he was right. Donna stopped walking, her hand on her sword hilt, knuckles white. Clark broke Batman's neck with his bare hands. Then he flew to the watchtower and gave the rest of us a choice. Help him build a world where no hero would ever have to die again or stand aside. Most stood aside. Those who stood against him, she trailed off. Well, you don't see Green Lantern or Flash protecting this city, do you? Barry's blood ran cold. What happened to them? Hal Jordan is in the Phantom Zone. Has been for 16 years. Barry Allen. Donna's eyes narrowed, studying him. Interesting, you're Barry Allen or a Barry Allen. In this reality, our Flash refused to bow, said that freedom mattered more than safety. Superman respected that, I think. Let him run. Barry ran for 7 months straight before his body gave out. They buried him with full honors. Superman himself delivered the eulogy. The world tilted. Barry stumbled, and Donna caught his arm with strength that would have shattered normal human bone. Easy, speedster. Whatever you did to break reality, it's clearly eating you alive. Your Speed Force signature is destabilizing further. I can see it, red and gold lightning turning black at the edges. She pulled him into an alley away from watching eyes. Talk fast. What happened in your reality? Why are you here? Barry took a shuddering breath. Darkseid invaded. Full-scale assault, not a probe or a test. He killed Superman. I saw it happen. Omega beams at point-blank range while Clark was protecting civilians. I couldn't let it stand, so I ran. Faster than I've ever run before. I was going to go back, prevent the invasion, save Clark. Instead, you shattered the multiverse, Donna finished. I can feel it, speedster. Reality is bleeding. This world, your world, 1,000 other worlds, all bleeding together like watercolors in rain. You didn't just break time, you broke everything. I know, Barry's voice cracked. I felt it happen. I saw infinite Earths collapsing, merging, fracturing, and I couldn't stop it. The Speed Force wouldn't let me stop running until it was done. Donna studied him with eyes that had seen too much, survived too much. Then you've accomplished something truly impressive, Barry Allen from another reality. You've done what Darkseid, Anti-Monitor, and Barbados combined couldn't manage. You've killed the multiverse. Lightning crackled across Barry's body, crimson and gold warring with spreading black corruption. I can fix this. I have to fix this. If I can just access the Speed Force properly, find the right frequency. The Speed Force is dying, a new voice said, and Barry's heart stopped. He emerged from deeper shadows in the alley, a figure in red and gold, but the colors were wrong, faded and torn. The lightning bolt on his chest was cracked down the middle. His face was Barry Allen's face, but older, scarred, eyes haunted by horrors Barry couldn't imagine. I'm you, the other Barry said simply. Or I was you in a reality where Superman's invasion of Apocalypse succeeded, but Darkseid's dying curse poisoned the Speed Force itself. I've been running through dying timelines for 3 years, trying to outrun the end. But you, he pointed at Barry with a trembling hand. You finally did it. You killed the Speed Force. I felt it die. Every speedster across infinite realities felt it die. No, Barry whispered, it can't be. There are more, a third voice said, and another Barry Allen stepped from the alley's far end. This one younger, costume pristine but eyes filled with rage and red lightning. So many more of us, scattered across your fractured multiverse. All the choices we made, all the timelines we created, all bleeding together now. Some of us tried to be heroes, the scarred Bari said quietly. Some of us became gods, the red lightning Bari snarled. And some of us, a fourth Bari said, dropping from the rooftop in a costume of black and gold with eyes that glowed crimson, became something worse. Donna Troy drew her sword, placing herself between the prime Bari and the gathering variants. Well, she said dryly, this just became significantly more complicated. Bari stared at his other selves, heroes and monsters wearing his face. All born from the infinite possibilities he just shattered and merged. Somewhere in this broken multiverse, Clark was a tyrant. Diana was dead. Bruce was a murderer. Hal was imprisoned. And Bari Allen existed in a dozen forms, each one a reminder of what happens when the fastest man alive makes one catastrophic mistake. The speed force flickered and died within him, then surged back to unstable life, then died again. Reality itself was having seizures, unable to decide which version of existence was real. I need to find Superman, Bari said, his voice steadier than he felt. The Superman from my reality, if he's still alive somewhere in this mess, if any version of the Justice League survived. You need to understand something first, Donna interrupted, her sword still raised toward the variant Baris. In this reality, Superman is absolute. He controls everything from Metropolis to Mars. If you go to him claiming to be from another Earth, claiming that his perfect order is just one possibility among infinite broken realities, he will kill you. Not to imprison you, not give you a chance to explain. He will end you because you represent chaos. And Superman ended chaos 17 years ago. Then I won't go to him, Bari decided. I'll find the people who stand against him. You said there was resistance. Donna's lips quirked in something that wasn't quite a smile. There's always resistance. Even in the darkest timeline, some people refuse to kneel. She sheathed her sword. Fine. You want to meet the people still fighting Superman's peace. Follow me. But know this, speedster. If you're lying, if you're some trick of Lex Luthor's or another one of Superman's tests, I will put Amazon steel through your heart. Diana's death taught me that mercy is a luxury heroes can't afford. The variant Baris watched in silence. The scarred one nodded slowly, as if understanding what had to happen next. The red lightning Bari laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The black and gold Bari simply vanished in a burst of corrupted speed force energy. They're me, Bari said quietly. All of them are me, all the choices I might have made, all the timelines I destroyed. Then you'd better hope, Donna said, already moving toward the alley's exit, that the you standing here right now makes better choices than they did. Because this reality is already one of the darker possibilities. And if the multiverse truly shattered the way you claim, then somewhere out there are timelines so corrupted, so twisted, that this world would look like paradise by comparison. Bari followed her, leaving his variant selves behind in the shadows. But he could feel them, not just those three, but dozens, hundreds, perhaps thousands of Bari Allens scattered across the fractured multiverse. Some running toward redemption, some running toward damnation. And all of them are running out of time. The resistance operated from a place Bari never expected, 300 feet beneath what used to be the Hall of Justice. Donna led him through maintenance tunnels that smelled of rust and recycled air, past security systems that had clearly been designed by someone who understood both Kryptonian technology and human paranoia. Every 50 feet, another checkpoint, retinal scans, DNA verification. Psychological baseline tests are administered by automated systems that would fry intruders with lethal force if they detected deception. Luthor's work, Donna explained as they descended another level. Before Superman killed him, Lex spent his last 3 years building these tunnels, preparing for the day when resistance would be the only option left. He died buying us time to evacuate the first resistance cell. Superman crushed his armor like aluminum foil and left his body hanging from LexCorp Tower for a week. A reminder. God, what happened to this world? Barry whispered. Someone tried to be a hero, Donna said without looking back. Just like you did. The tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber that had clearly been a Kryptonian fortress once. Crystalline structures jutted from walls, though most were dark now, their power drained or deliberately shut down. Makeshift living quarters clustered in corners. Command stations built from salvaged technology. And people, perhaps 200 souls, human and metahuman alike, all bearing the exhausted determination of those who fight unwinnable wars. At the chamber's center stood a man Barry recognized immediately, though 17 years had carved hard lines into his face and silver through his black hair. He wore tactical gear instead of a cape, and he carried himself with the controlled violence of someone who'd crossed every line he once swore to protect. Bruce, Barry breathed. Batman, or what remained of him, turned. His eyes were cold blue chips behind a tactical mask, and when he spoke, his voice carried the rasp of old damage. Wrong, Bruce, speedster. That Bruce died when Diana did, when Superman murdered him. I'm Thomas Wayne, pulled from another timeline's flashpoint before your little multiversal catastrophe. The Bruce Wayne of this world is dead, but his city still needed a Batman. He moved closer, predatory and assessing. Donna, report. Found him in Metropolis proper, vibing wrong frequencies and bleeding unstable speed force, Donna said. Claims he's Barry Allen from a reality where he tried to prevent Darkseid's invasion by running faster than the multiverse could contain. Says he broke everything. Multiple Barry variants are already manifesting across the city. Thomas Wayne's jaw tightened. Of course, because one speedster breaking reality wasn't enough. He circled Barry slowly, and Barry saw the weapons hidden in that tactical suit: kryptonite knuckles, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter darts, sonic disruptors, and modifications he couldn't identify but which radiated barely controlled lethality. You're bleeding dimensional instability like radiation. Every second you exist in this space, you make reality a little more broken. Give me one reason I shouldn't put you down before you make things worse. Barry met his eyes. Because I'm going to fix this, whatever it takes. That's what they all say, a woman's voice cut in, sharp and bitter. She emerged from behind a console, red hair, green eyes, a face Barry knew better than his own, right before they make everything exponentially worse. Iris, Barry's voice cracked. Not your Iris, she said flatly. Mine died in the Purge, when Superman decided journalists who questioned his methods were enemies of peace. I'm Iris West Allen, war correspondent turned resistance intelligence officer. I've spent 16 years documenting Superman's atrocities and broadcasting them to anyone still capable of independent thought, which gets smaller every year, by the way. His neural compliance network covers 60% of Earth's population now. Barry felt like he'd been gutted. I'm sorry, God, I'm so sorry. Save your apologies, Iris interrupted. I don't need them from another reality's version of my dead husband. What I need is information. You claim you shattered the multiverse. Explain. Technical details. Now. Barry took a breath and tried to organize the chaos in his mind. I pushed past maximum velocity, exceeded what the speed force could safely contain. My vibrational frequency went beyond quantum coherence. Instead of moving through time linearly or even creating a single branching timeline, he struggled for words. Imagine reality as a pane of glass. Flashpoint was a crack. What I did was take a hammer to it. The entire structure fractured. Infinite Earths that existed separately started bleeding into each other, merging, collapsing. And the speed force itself is dying, a new voice finished. A young man approached, perhaps 17, wearing a makeshift costume of yellow and red. His face was Wally West's face, but thinner, harder, eyes too old for his years. I felt it the moment it happened, like someone cut off my legs. I can still access trace amounts of speed, but the force itself is hemorrhaging across dying realities. Wally, Barry said, recognition and grief twinning together. You're The last speedster this reality had before you arrived, Wally said. Barry Allen trained me for 3 years before Superman killed him. Taught me everything about the Speed Force, about responsibility, about how speed is both a gift and a curse. Then he ran until his heart exploded rather than kneel to tyranny. Wally's hands clenched. And now you show up, wearing his face, claiming you killed the thing that made him special. The thing that made both of us special. The Speed Force flickered within Barry, weakening, strengthening, dying by inches. He could feel it now, the way Wally and the other variants must feel it, like breathing with punctured lungs, like trying to hold water in a shattered cup. I didn't mean to, Barry started. Nobody ever means to, Thomas Wayne interrupted. That Bruce, the one Superman killed, had a saying. The road to hell is paved with good intentions and superhuman power. You had both. Now show me the practical consequences. Barry closed his eyes, reaching for the Speed Force with senses beyond normal perception. What he found made his blood freeze. There are rifts, dimensional tiers across the planet, places where your reality bleeds into others. I can feel them, a dozen in Metropolis alone, more openings every hour. They're stable for now, but if the Speed Force continues dying, they'll become permanent, Iris finished, her journalist's mind already racing ahead. Multiple realities occupying the same physical space, buildings from different Earths overlap, people meeting their variants. Laws of physics contradict each other. Worse, Barry said, some of those realities are dark, nightmare worlds where evil won completely. The Dark Multiverse that should be sealed away, if those rifts widen. An alarm shrieked through the chamber. Red lights bathed everything in crimson urgency. Thomas Wayne's hand went to his weapons instantly, and Donna had her sword drawn before Barry could process what was happening. Contact, a voice shouted from the security station. Dimensional rift opening, Section 7. It's widening, multiple signatures. The chamber's far wall rippled like disturbed water. Reality tore itself apart with a sound like screaming metal, and through the rift poured figures that made Barry's stomach turn. They were Barry Allen's, dozens of them. But these weren't variants like the ones he'd encountered in the alley. These were corrupted, twisted by darkness that no speedster should ever touch. Their costumes were black and red, their lightning crimson shot through with void black tendrils. Their eyes glowed with Speed Force energy that had gone septic, and when they smiled, Barry saw teeth too sharp, too many. Found him, the lead corrupted Barry said, his voice layered with dozens of overlapping frequencies. The Prime, the fool who broke everything and made us possible. He gestured to the horde behind him. We are the Black Flash Legion, every Barry Allen who gave in to darkness, every speedster who learned that heroism is weakness, every version of you who chose power over principle. And we've been waiting in the dark corners of dead timelines for someone stupid enough to open the doors. Defensive positions, Thomas Wayne roared, already moving. Resistance fighters scrambled for weapons. Donna Troy launched herself at the nearest Black Flash variant with Amazon Fury. Wally West vibrated to speed, his diminished connection to the dying Speed Force still enough to fight. But the Black Flash Legion was faster. They phased through defenders like ghosts, each touch leaving corrupted Speed Force burns. One grabbed a resistance fighter and vibrated his hand through the man's chest, not to kill with a single strike, but slowly, letting him feel every molecule separate. Another laughed as bullets passed through him harmlessly, then returned the favor by vibrating bullets back through the shooters. Barry moved without thinking, Speed Force surging despite its instability. He intercepted a Black Flash variant mid-strike, redirecting the corrupted speedster into a crystal column with force that should have shattered bone. The variant just laughed and kept coming. You can't beat us, Prime, the lead Black Flash said, circling Barry like a shark. We're what you become, what you've always been beneath the heroism and self-righteousness. You broke the multiverse because you couldn't accept loss. That's not heroism, that's ego. Divine, absolute ego. You think you're better than Superman in that shiny suit. At least he owns what he is. I'm nothing like you, Bari growled, throwing a lightning-fast combination that the variant blocked effortlessly. You're exactly like us, you just haven't admitted it yet. The Black Flash variant's grin widened. But you will. The Speed Force is dying, Bari, and when it's gone, when you're just a man in a red suit with no power, no purpose, no way to fix your mistakes, you'll understand. Heroes are just villains who haven't been pushed far enough. An explosion rocked the chamber. Thomas Wayne had detonated something. Kryptonite-laced thermite, Bari realized, designed to hurt Kryptonians but effective against speedsters if they couldn't phase fast enough. 3 Black Flash variants went down screaming, their corrupted Speed Force connection disrupted by exotic radiation. Fall back, Thomas ordered. Collapse Tunnel 7 and seal Section 6, move. Donna fought like a goddess of war, her sword carving through speedsters with the technique Diana must have taught her. But for every variant she cut down, 2 more poured through the widening rift. Wally West ran interference, using his limited speed to create barriers of compressed air, but Bari could see him flagging, the dying Speed Force unable to sustain extended combat. Ira stood at a console, fingers flying across keys. "I've got data," she shouted. "From the rift's energy signature. Bari, your dimensional vibration is acting like a beacon. Every corrupted speedster in the shattered multiverse can feel you." "Of course I am," Bari said bitterly, dodging another strike. "Because I wasn't already responsible for enough damage." "Less self-pity, more solutions," Thomas Wayne snapped, throwing a batarang that exploded in neural toxin. 2 Black Flash variants went down convulsing. "You broke reality, speedster. Start figuring out how to fix it before we all die in the attempt." The lead Black Flash variant suddenly stopped fighting, holding up a hand. His Legion obeyed instantly, pulling back into defensive formation. "Actually," he said, "that's exactly what we wanted to hear." Bari tensed. "What?" "You want to fix the multiverse. You want to repair what you broke." The variant's smile was cruel and knowing. "There's only one way to do that, Prime. Only one source of power is great enough to weave reality back together, and it's not the Speed Force. That's dying. No, you need something older, darker, more fundamental." "The Dark Multiverse," Bari whispered, understanding and horror arriving simultaneously. "The Dark Multiverse," the variant confirmed. "Every nightmare, every failed timeline, every reality where darkness won. They're all still there, pressed against the walls of stable reality like prisoners against cell doors. And you, with your catastrophic mistake, just broke those doors open. So here's your choice, hero. Stay here and watch as the Black Flash Legion kills everyone you've ever known across infinite realities." He gestured to the rift, where darker things were beginning to emerge, shadows that weren't quite speedsters, horrors that wore Bari Allen's face like a mask over something infinitely worse. "Or come with us, learn what we learned, accept what we became, and harness the Dark Multiverse's power to fix your mistake." "Don't listen to him," Donna said, blood streaming from a dozen cuts. "Whatever they're offering is poison." "Is it?" the variant asked. "Or is it just the truth you heroes refuse to face? Power requires sacrifice. Salvation demands compromise. You want to save the multiverse, Bari? Then stop pretending you're better than us. Stop clinging to the moral high ground. Become what you need to be." The chamber shook. More rifts are opening, more realities bleeding through. Bari could feel them all, worlds where Superman was the villain, where Diana lived and Bruce died, where Darkseid conquered Earth, where the Green Lantern Corps fell, where magic consumed technology, where hope itself died. All pressing against this moment, this choice. The Speed Force within him flickered again, weaker than before. Wally stumbled, nearly falling as his connection frayed further. Across the multiverse, Bari sensed other speedsters, heroes who'd never done anything wrong, feeling their power die because of his mistake. "There has to be another way," Bari said, but his voice lacked conviction. "There isn't," the Black Flash variant said simply. We've tried, thousands of us across thousands of dying realities. The math is absolute. To repair reality, you need power equivalent to what broke it. You shattered the multiverse with speed, force, energy. You need something equal and opposite to stitch it back together. The Dark Multiverse is the opposite. Nightmare to dream, shadow to light, death to life. And the cost? Barry asked, though he already knew. The cost, the variant said, is you. The Barry Allen who tried to be a hero. That version of you dies. What emerges will be darker, harder, capable of the terrible choices required. But it will be powerful enough to save everything you destroyed. Thomas Wayne moved to Barry's side, his voice low and urgent. I've made terrible choices, Speedster. Lived in a world where I became Batman by watching my son die in that alley instead of me. I know what it costs to become something dark for the right reasons. And I'm telling you, don't do this. Once you cross that line, there's no coming back. Trust me. But if I don't, Barry said quietly, the multiverse dies, every Earth, every reality, everyone I was trying to save. They all cease to exist because I made one catastrophically selfish choice. At least this way they survive. As slaves to darkness, Donna said. As prisoners in a multiverse stitched together with nightmare energy. That's not salvation, Barry. That's damnation with better PR. The Black Flash variants waited, patient as death. The rifts continued widening, and somewhere in the chaos, Barry felt another presence, vast, terrible, and intimately familiar. He's here, Wally said suddenly, his face going pale. Oh God, he's here. Who? Barry asked. The chamber's ceiling exploded inward, not from bombs or energy weapons, but from pure, overwhelming force. Rubble rained down, crushing resistance fighters who couldn't move fast enough. And through the dust and destruction descended a figure in blue and red, cape billowing, eyes glowing with heat vision barely contained. Superman landed with an impact that cracked the floor. But this wasn't the Clark Kent Barry knew, the Kansas farm boy with infinite kindness and unshakable morals. This Superman moved like a predator. His jaw was set in lines of absolute authority, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of someone who'd ended all debates 17 years ago and never looked back. Speedsters, Superman said, his heat vision sweeping across the Black Flash variants without concern. Dimensional rifts, multiversal destabilization, and at the center of it all, his eyes fixed on Barry, and the temperature dropped. Another Barry Allen, another hero who thought he knew better, another fool who broke reality because he couldn't accept the one fundamental truth: some people must die so others can live. Clark, Barry started. I'm not your Clark, Superman interrupted. Your Clark is probably still playing at heroism, still pretending that power without control is anything but disaster waiting to happen. I learned better. I became better. And now you've brought your chaos to my world. Unacceptable. He moved faster than Barry could track. Not speedster fast, but Kryptonian combat velocity that didn't need the speed force. His hand closed around Barry's throat, lifting him off the ground with effortless strength. You have one chance to explain, Superman said, heat vision flickering at the edges of his eyes. Why I shouldn't end you right now and solve at least one problem cleanly. Barry struggled to breathe, to speak, to access the dying speed force. But this Superman's grip was absolute, his Kryptonian biology overwhelming everything else. The Black Flash variants watched with interest. Thomas Wayne's hand moved toward a kryptonite weapon. Donna calculated angles for a killing strike. Iris's face showed calculations, a journalist's mind weighing whether Barry's death might actually help or doom them all. And in that moment, suspended between heroism and corruption, between salvation and damnation, Barry Allen finally understood what his mistake had truly cost. It wasn't just the multiverse that shattered. It was the fundamental belief that heroes could save everyone, that good intentions mattered, that one person's choice to refuse loss could be anything but cosmic-scale arrogance. The speed force died a little more within him. Reality bled a little more around him. And somewhere in the Dark Multiverse, something vast and terrible smiled, sensing its moment approaching. Superman's grip tightened, and Barry felt his windpipe collapsing. Heat vision flickered closer, twin red suns promising instant vaporization. But then something unexpected happened. The Black Flash variant leader laughed. Not the cruel mockery from before, but genuine amusement that made Superman's eyes narrow. "You're going to kill him?" the variant asked. The Prime Barry, the one anchor holding together what's left of the fractured multiverse. He gestured to the widening rifts, to the reality bleeding through crystal walls. "Go ahead, Kal-El. Crush his throat. See what happens when you murder the only thing keeping infinite Earths from collapsing into singular, absolute non-existence." Superman's hand didn't move, but his heat vision dimmed. "Explain, quickly." "He broke the multiverse," the variant said, packing with predatory grace. "But in breaking it, he became its linchpin. His vibrational frequency, unstable as it is the only thing maintaining even this level of coherence. Kill him and reality doesn't just fracture further, it ceases entirely. Every Earth, every timeline, every possibility, gone, including this one. Including your perfect, orderly world where you've finally achieved what Superman always wanted. Absolute peace through absolute control." Superman's jaw tightened. He looked at Barry with eyes that weighed lives like equations, calculating whether the risk of keeping him alive outweighed the certainty of chaos he represented. Finally, with clear reluctance, he released his grip. Barry collapsed, gasping, speed force lightning crackling across his body in erratic bursts as he struggled to breathe. "Thomas," Superman said without looking away from Barry, "status of containment protocols." Thomas Wayne's voice was cold. "Non-functional. Your entrance destroyed Section 7 entirely. 73 resistance members are dead. Another 40 were injured. But I'm sure that's acceptable collateral damage in pursuit of order." "It is," Superman said flatly. 73 martyrs who died opposing peace are 73 fewer problems for the 6 billion people who choose to live safely under proper leadership." He gestured sharply. "Lock down remaining sectors. Route surviving personnel to auxiliary positions. And someone," his heat vision flared toward the Black Flash variants, "explain why I shouldn't incinerate all of you before dealing with the larger problem." "Because we're the solution," the variant leader said. "Or part of it. This Barry broke the multiverse with heroic intention and speed force excess. To repair it requires equivalent power channeled with darker clarity. We've already walked that path. We know what he needs to become." "Corruption," Donna said, her sword still drawn. "You're offering corruption as salvation." "I'm offering pragmatism," the variant corrected. "Superman understands, don't you, Kal-El? You crossed your line 17 years ago, killed Batman, conquered Earth, became the tyrant everyone always feared you could be. And what happened? The war ended. Crime has been nearly eliminated. Humanity thriving under guidance instead of floundering in freedom. You chose power over principle, and the world is better for it." "The world is a prison," Ira said quietly, but her voice carried. "I've documented 17,000 political disappearances, neural compliance networks that override free will, re-education camps where dissidents are erased and replaced with obedient shells, children taken from parents deemed ideologically unsuitable. This isn't peace, Superman. This is the extinction of everything that makes us human." Superman's expression didn't change. Humanity was suicidal. Given freedom, they chose war, poverty, environmental collapse, and mutual annihilation. I gave them survival. If that requires oversight, then oversight is what they receive. If that makes me a tyrant in the eyes of people who romanticize chaos, so be it. Clark, Barry started, but Superman cut him off with a gesture. "I'm not the Clark Kent you knew. That Clark died the night Diana did. That Clark believed in redemption, second chances, and the inherent goodness of human nature. 17 years of absolute rule taught me better. People aren't good, Barry. They're manageable. and management requires the firm hand of someone powerful enough to enforce peace, whether they want it or not. A rift pulsed, reality bending. Through the tear, Bari glimpsed another Earth, one where fire consumed cities and the sky was perpetual ash. Shadows moved there, things that had once been heroes before the darkness took them completely. "The Dark Multiverse is pressing closer," Wally said, his young voice tight with fear. "I can feel it, nightmares bleeding through." "Because the structure holding them back is failing," the Black Flash variant explained. "The cosmic membrane between stable reality and entropic nightmare was maintained by the multiverse's integrity. Your friend here shattered that integrity. Now the Dark Multiverse leaks through like poison through cracked skin. Eventually, days, maybe weeks if we're lucky, the distinction between real and nightmare will collapse entirely. And then," he smiled, "well, imagine the Batman who laughs, multiplied across infinite horrific variations, flooding into every reality simultaneously." Thomas Wayne flinched. Bari saw recognition and terror in his eyes. "You've encountered him," Bari said quietly. "The Batman who laughs." "Once," Thomas said. "In the Flashpoint timeline before I was pulled here, he came through a breach we didn't understand at the time. Killed 17 Amazons and a Green Lantern before we managed to drive him back. That was one of his, in one reality, for 10 minutes. His hand tightened on his weapon. If the Dark Multiverse fully breaches, there won't be anyone left to remember we tried to stop it." Superman's heat vision intensified, twin red stars of barely contained power. "Then we have one option: seal the breaches, repair the multiverse's structural integrity, and eliminate the variable that caused this catastrophe." His eyes were fixed on Bari. "Unless you can prove you're worth the risk of keeping alive." "I can fix this," Bari said, forcing himself to stand despite bruised ribs and failing speed force. "Not through darkness, not through corruption. There's always another way." "Is there?" Superman interrupted. "Tell me, Bari, in your reality was I alive? Was I the hero you remember? The symbol of hope and justice and all those pretty lies we tell ourselves?" "Yes," Bari said. You are the best of us." "And where did that get me? Dead. Killed by Darkseid while protecting people who can't protect themselves. Your heroic Clark Kent, your symbol of hope, he failed. He died. And his death is what drove you to break reality rather than accept loss. So don't lecture me about another way. I've lived that way. It ends in ash and corpses and good men, dying for people who'll never be worth their sacrifice." "That's not true," Bari said, but his conviction wavered. Because hadn't he proven Superman's point? Hadn't he shattered infinite realities because he couldn't accept Clark's death? Because he thought he knew better, thought one more impossible run could fix everything? "The truth," a new voice said, feminine and cold as deep space, "is that you're both correct, and both catastrophically wrong." Reality tore itself in half. Not a rift, a doorway, carved with precision that spoke of power beyond even Superman's comprehension. Through it stepped a figure that made Bari's Speed-Force connection scream in recognition and terror. She was tall, impossibly so, her form shifting between states, now corporeal, now energy, now something that hurt to perceive. Her costume was midnight blue shot through with silver stars that weren't decorative but actual stellar matter, compressed and contained. Her face was beautiful and terrible, ageless and ancient, and her eyes held the weight of infinite dead realities. "I am the Monitor," she said, voice resonating across multiple dimensions. "Or what remains of the Monitors after your shattered multiverse killed most of my siblings. I am Zura of New Genesis, elevated to Cosmic Observer, and I have watched this cascade of catastrophic choices with increasing concern." Superman didn't attack, couldn't, Bari realized, because the Monitor existed on a level even Kryptonian power couldn't easily reach. Instead, he stepped between her and the Resistance, protective instinct overriding tyrannical pragmatism. "State your purpose, quickly." "My purpose," Zura said, "is preventing absolute multiversal collapse. which requires all of you to stop posturing and address the fundamental problem." She gestured to Bari. "The speedster broke reality. That cannot be undone, but it can be managed if he accepts responsibility and power in equal measure." "The Black Flash Legion already offered corruption as solution," Donna said. "If you're here to make the same pitch with better rhetoric." "I'm here," Zura interrupted, "to offer the actual solution. Not darkness, not heroism, but balance." She moved toward Bari, and reality bent around her like water around a stone. "You shattered the multiverse, Bari Allen. In doing so, you scattered the speed force across infinite dying timelines. It's not dead, it's fractured. Pieces exist in every reality that still maintains even partial coherence, and those pieces are being hoarded." "By who?" Bari asked. "By him," Zura said, pointing directly at the Black Flash variant leader. "And by every corrupted speedster who sees fractured speed force as a resource to be exploited rather than a responsibility to be honored. They're collecting it, concentrating on it, preparing to reshape reality according to their design, which involves significantly more tyranny and significantly less free will than even Superman's regime managed." The Black Flash variants shifted, predatory energy suddenly focused. The leader's smile remained, but something darker moved behind his eyes. "Interesting accusation, Monitor. Can you prove it?" "I don't need to prove it," Zura said. "The Speed Force recognizes its true wielder. Watch." She gestured toward Bari, and pain exploded through his body. Not injury, but awakening, like blood returning to a limb too long numb. The dying speed force within him suddenly surged, but not from his own power. From outside, from the Black Flash variants. They screamed, all of them, simultaneously, as golden lightning erupted from their bodies against their will. The corrupted speed force they'd been hoarding, stolen from dying timelines and murdered speedsters, tore free. It flooded into Bari like a dam breaking, and for one infinite instant, he felt everything. Every timeline, every Earth, every Bari Allen who'd ever lived or would ever live. Every choice made, every consequence suffered, every victory and failure, and every moment of absolute moral clarity or catastrophic doubt. The speed force wasn't just energy. It was connection memory, the accumulated experience of every speedster across all realities bound together in a singular purpose. And that purpose was screaming at him to fix what he'd broken. Bari's body lifted off the ground, suspended in a cocoon of pure speed force energy that was gold and red and crackling with power that made Superman take an involuntary step back. The Black Flash variants collapsed, their stolen power ripped away, leaving them as just men, corrupted and dangerous but no longer supernatural threats. "What did you do?" Bari gasped, voice echoing across multiple frequencies. "I reminded the Speed Force who its chosen champion is," Zura said. "The variants were parasites, leeches feeding on dying energy. You're the prime conduit, the original, the one whose frequency the Force recognizes absolutely. With their stolen power returned to you, you have enough Speed Force energy to begin repairs." But her voice hardened. "There is a cost." "There's always a cost," Bari said bitterly. "This one is absolute," Zura continued. "To repair the multiverse, you must run the cosmic treadmill at speeds that will tear your body apart. You must visit every fractured reality, thousands of them, and re-establish proper vibrational frequencies. You must weave the speed force back into a singular, coherent structure rather than scattered, dying fragments. And you must do this knowing that every second you run, you're burning yourself away. Your cells, your memories, your very existence." "He'll die," Iris said, and her voice cracked despite 17 years of hardening. "He'll cease," Zura corrected. "Not death, dissolution. His energy will merge with the speed force completely, becoming the living foundation that holds the repaired multiverse together. Bari Allen will no longer exist as an individual consciousness, but the multiverse will survive." Silence fell like a guillotine blade. Even Superman had nothing to say to that. What argument could justify refusing sacrifice on that scale? Bari felt the speed force flowing through him, golden and pure and impossibly vast. He felt every speedster across infinite realities. The heroes, the victims, the corrupted variants, all of them connected through him now. And he felt the cosmic treadmill, that device built by his own hands in 1,000 realities, waiting in the space between spaces for one final, impossible run. "There has to be another way," Wally said, his voice young and desperate. "Please, there has to be." "There isn't," Bari said quietly. "Is there, Monitor?" Zura's expression was unreadable. "The mathematics are absolute. One life for infinite realities. Your existence for the multiverse's survival. And even then, success is not guaranteed. If you lack the strength to complete the run, if your will falters, if you hesitate, everything ends regardless." "But if he succeeds," Thomas Wayne said slowly, "reality repairs. Does the Dark Multiverse get sealed back, the rifts close?" "Reality stabilizes," Zura confirmed. "Not perfectly. The scars will remain, places where the multiverse fractured will always be weaker, more prone to future breaches. But the immediate catastrophe will be averted. The Dark Multiverse will be contained, and the speed force will function again, choosing new avatars to carry its power forward." Superman's heat vision had faded, but his expression remained hard. "And if we refuse to let him run? If I decided the risk of Bari Allen attempting this repair outweighs the certainty of his dissolution?" "Then the multiverse ends in approximately 72 hours, Zura said flatly. "The Dark Multiverse will flood through complete structural collapse. Nightmare versions of every hero will manifest simultaneously. The Batman who laughs and worse will walk freely across infinite dying Earths. And in the end, nothing will remain except darkness and entropy and the knowledge that you chose pride over salvation." The chamber shook. "Another rift is opening, wider than before. Through it, Bari saw a nightmare Earth, one where Superman was a monster in truth, where he'd carved continents into prison camps and seas ran red with dissenter blood. That world Superman smiled with eyes like burning coal and raised a hand in mocking salute. "They're coming," the depowered Black Flash variant leader said, his voice hoarse without stolen speed force. "All the corrupted versions, all the monsters. They've been waiting for the barriers to fail, and your friend here gave them exactly what they needed." Bari lowered himself to the ground, speed force crackling but controlled now. His body, a living battery of power that could repair everything he'd broken or die trying. He looked at the faces around him. Superman the tyrant, Thomas Wayne the dark reflection, Donna Troy the surviving warrior, Iris West who'd lost everything, Wally West the last hope, and Zura the monitor who'd seen countless realities live and die. "I'll do it," Bari said. "I'll run the treadmill, I'll repair what I broke." "Bari, no," Iris started. "I have to," Bari interrupted gently. "This is my fault, my arrogance, my refusal to accept loss. I broke infinite realities because I thought I knew better than the universe itself. The only way to make that right is to become the foundation holding it all together. It's actually kind of perfect. The man who couldn't accept death gets to die in the most absolute way possible." "There's no heroism in suicide," Superman said, but his voice lacked its earlier certainty. "There's no heroism in refusing responsibility either," Bari countered. "You killed Batman and conquered Earth because you thought you knew better. How'd that work out? This world is stable, sure, but it's not alive, not really. Just a museum of what humanity could be if they weren't human anymore." He met Superman's eyes. "I won't make your mistake, Clark. I won't try to force my solution on everyone else. I'll pay the price myself. Alone." "Not alone," Wally said, stepping forward. "I'm coming with you. The speed force is part of me, too. If you're going to dissolve into cosmic energy, at least let me run beside you until—" "No," Bari said firmly. "You survive, Wally, you live. When this is over, when the multiverse repairs, there needs to be a Flash. Someone who remembers what we stand for. Someone who'll do better than I did. That's you." Zura raised her hand and reality bent. The cosmic treadmill materialized, not the machine Bari remembered, but something vaster, more fundamental. It existed across all dimensions simultaneously, its surface crackling with speed-force energy that predated creation itself. The treadmill will take you through every fractured reality, Zura explained. At each one, you must expend speed-force energy to re-establish proper vibrational frequency. This will hurt. This will feel like dying 1,000 deaths simultaneously. And at the end, when you've repaired the final fracture, you will have approximately 30 seconds to say goodbye to individual existence before the speed force claims you completely. 30 seconds, Bari repeated. Not enough time, never enough time. I'll make sure your sacrifice isn't forgotten, Iris said, and tears tracked down her face despite 17 years of refusing to cry. Every reality will know what Bari Allen did. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure of it. Thank you, Bari said simply. He moved toward the treadmill, speed force lightning playing across its surface like an eager greeting. Behind him, Superman said nothing, but Bari caught the slightest nod, the barest acknowledgement that some sacrifices matter even to tyrants. Thomas Wayne's hand rose in salute, the gesture of one soldier to another. Donna Troy touched 2 fingers to her heart, an Amazon farewell to a warrior going to certain death. And Wally West just stood there, tears streaming, watching the mentor he'd barely known prepare to die for a mistake any of them might have made. Bari placed his hand on the treadmill. The speed force surged in welcome and warning both. One more thing, Zura said. The Dark Multiverse will try to stop you. Every nightmare version of every hero will manifest to prevent repair. You'll face the Batman who laughs, the Superman who fell, the Wonder Woman who slaughtered, and worse corruptions than any reality should contain. They are entropy given form, and they do not want creation to survive. Then they're going to be disappointed, Bari said, and despite everything, despite the fear and guilt and absolute certainty of dissolution, he smiled. Because I'm the Flash, and the one thing I've always been good at is running toward impossible situations with nothing but hope and the belief that someone has to try. He stepped onto the treadmill. Reality screamed, and Bari Allen began his final, impossible run. The cosmic treadmill didn't move, Bari did, and reality moved with him. The underground chamber dissolved into streaks of color and sound, Superman's fortress and the Resistance and Wally's desperate face all bleeding away like watercolors in a hurricane. The speed force roared through Bari with power that was ecstasy and agony merged, 1,000 lifetimes of energy compressed into each heartbeat. The first fractured Earth materialized around him like a photograph developing in reverse. He was still running, would always be running now, but the treadmill had brought him to a reality that existed in 3 states simultaneously. The sky was day and night and something in between, buildings phased in and out of existence, and people walked through each other like ghosts, unaware they occupied the same space as their dimensional variants. Bari could feel the wrongness in his bones. This Earth's vibrational frequency had splintered into discordant harmonics when the multiverse shattered. 3 separate timelines are trying to exist in the same physical space, none quite real, all slowly dying. He reached deep into the speed force, drawing power that burned like touching the sun, and channeled it outward. Golden lightning erupted from his body, spreading across the entire planet in microseconds. He could feel the 3 timelines, one where the Justice League had defeated Darkseid, one where they'd failed, one where the invasion never happened, and he forced them apart, re-establishing proper separation, weaving the speed force into a new foundational structure. The pain was immediate and absolute. It felt like his cells were being torn apart and reassembled wrong, like his nervous system was conducting electricity designed for stars. Bari screamed, but the sound was lost in the thunder of reality repairing itself. The 3 Earths separated cleanly, each settling into its proper dimensional frequency, and Bari felt a piece of himself, something essential and irreplaceable, burn away in the process. One down, 4,617 to go. The treadmill yanked him onward. No rest, no recovery. The speed force drove him forward because stopping meant death for everything. The second Earth was worse. This reality had merged with its Dark Multiverse counterpart, a nightmare world where Superman had been Darkseid's son instead of Jor-El's. The twisted Kal-El ruled from a throne of skulls, and the entire planet screamed with a frequency that felt like nails on reality's chalkboard. Batman existed here, but he was broken, twisted, laughing with Joker toxin that had finally won after decades of exposure. Barry ran through streets where heroes hung from lampposts as warnings. He phased through the throne room where Dark Superman sat, and for one instant their eyes met. The tyrant saw him, recognized what he was attempting, and smiled with cruel approval. "Run, little speedster," Dark Superman said, voice carrying across dimensions. "Run and burn yourself away. It won't matter. We're coming through regardless. The Dark Multiverse is patient, and we have infinite nightmares to throw at you." Barry ignored him, channeling Speed Force energy into the planet's core. This separation was harder. The Dark Multiverse had sunk hooks deep, infected the very fabric of this reality. To repair it, Barry had to burn out the corruption entirely, which meant burning himself in the process. He felt memories dissolving, his 5th birthday party, the first time he'd worn the Flash costume, a conversation with Iris about wedding venues, all sacrificed to fuel the purification. The Dark Earth tore away with a sound like breaking bones, pulled back into its nightmare dimension while the proper Earth stabilized, scarred but surviving. Barry staggered on the treadmill, his body smoking, Speed Force lightning flickering erratically. 2 down, the dissolution had begun. Earth after Earth blurred past. Some repairs were simple, just realigning vibrational frequencies, separating overlapping timelines. Others required Barry to dive deep into planetary cores or Speed Force nexuses, burning away corruption or infection. Each repair cost him more memories, more physical cohesion, more of the identity that made him Barry Allen instead of just raw Speed Force energy. On Earth 47, he met another Barry Allen, not corrupted like the Black Flash variants, but desperate and terrified. This Barry had been trying to repair the multiverse from his end, running until his legs were bloody stumps, held together only by Speed Force will. "Is it working?" the other Barry gasped. "I've been running for days, weeks. I can't remember. Tell me it's working." "It's working," Barry lied, because what else could he say? This variant would dissolve just like he would, and there was comfort in believing the sacrifice mattered. They ran together for 3 Earths, repairing in tandem, before the other Barry simply stopped existing mid-stride, dissolved into golden lightning that dispersed across dying timelines. Barry didn't stop, couldn't stop. The treadmill wouldn't allow it. On Earth 113, the Batman who laughs was waiting. He stood in the center of Gotham, a twisted amalgamation of Bruce Wayne's tactical genius and Joker's nihilistic madness, and around him, reality itself was rotting. Buildings melted like wax, people transformed into grotesque parodies of themselves. The sky bled. "The Flash," the Batman who laughs said, his voice a chorus of screaming and laughter. "I wondered when you'd arrive. I've been preparing such a welcome." He gestured and the Dark Multiverse responded. Breach points opened across the city, and through them poured horrors wearing familiar faces. Wonder Women with serpent hair and petrifying gazes. Green Lanterns whose rings ran on fear and pain. Aquaman who commanded not sea life but the drowned dead. And Supermen. Dozens of corrupted Supermen, each one representing a different way the Man of Steel could fall. "You can't repair this Earth while I'm here," the Batman who laughs explained, circling Barry like a predator. "My presence corrupts reality faster than you can heal it. So you have a choice. Fight me, waste precious time and energy and watch other Earths die while we battle. Or run past, leave this world to corruption, and carry the knowledge that your cowardice damned billions." Barry's Speed Force flickered. He was so tired. So much of himself already gone. He could barely remember his mother's face, couldn't recall the name of his elementary school, didn't know if Iris's eyes were green or hazel or something he'd once known but had burned away to fuel reality's repair. Not a choice, Barry said and charged. The Batman who laughs laughed, of course. He did, and met the charge with weapons that were batarangs and Joker cards merged into something that cut across dimensions. Barry phased through them, vibrating his molecules to exist slightly out of sync with this reality, and drove his fist into the corrupted Batman's face. It was like punching wet concrete mixed with razor blades. The Batman who laughs head snapped back, then snapped forward, bones breaking and reforming instantly. His grin never faltered. "That's it," he crooned. "Waste yourself on me. Every punch you throw, every second you fight, that's speed force energy not going toward repair. That's your existence burning away for nothing. This is what I do, Flash. I make heroes choose between impossible options and laugh while they destroy themselves trying to find the right answer." Barry knew it was a trap, knew that fighting was exactly what the Batman who laughs wanted. But leaving this Earth to corruption, abandoning billions to nightmare transformation, that wasn't acceptable either. So he fought. Speed Force lightning became weapons, spears of golden energy that he drove through the corrupted Supermen, barriers that held back the nightmare variants, shields protecting civilians still struggling to exist in this rotting reality. Each expenditure of power was another memory sacrificed. His father's voice, the taste of his favorite food, the feeling of running just for joy instead of necessity or burden. The Batman who laughs adapted to every tactic, countered every strategy. Because he was Bruce Wayne's mind merged with Joker's chaos, and between them, they knew every trick Barry might attempt. The fight stretched from seconds to minutes, and Barry felt whole lifetimes burning away. Then Wally West appeared. Not the Wally from Superman's tyrannical Earth, but another Wally, older, wearing a costume Barry recognized from photos he could barely remember now. This Wally moved with the confidence of someone who'd been the Flash longer than Barry had been alive in some timelines. "You said I couldn't come," this Wally said, running beside Barry, matching his rhythm perfectly. "But there are infinite Wallys across the shattered multiverse, and a lot of us decided that if Barry Allen is dying to save reality, he's not dying alone." 3 more speedsters materialized. Jesse Quick from an Earth where she'd been the primary Flash, Jay Garrick from a timeline where the Golden Age never ended, and Bart Allen from a future that might never exist if they failed. All of them flickering with unstable speed force, all of them volunteering for dissolution. "We've got the Batman who laughs," Jay said, his ancient face set in determination. "You repair the Earth. That's the mission. We're just covering your run." Barry wanted to argue, wanted to order them back, wanted to refuse their sacrifice. But there wasn't time, and the cosmic treadmill was already pulling him toward the planet's core, where he needed to re-establish proper vibrational frequency. He ran, leaving the other speedsters to face the nightmare. He felt them die. One by one, their speed force signatures flickered and faded as they spent themselves holding back the corrupted heroes. Jessie went first, her energy exhausted, creating a barrier that protected civilians during evacuation. Jay followed, his ancient body finally failing as he ran interference against 3 dark Supermen. Bart lasted longest, his connection to an impossible future giving him extra reserves, but even he eventually dissolved into lightning that dispersed across dying timelines. Barry reached the core, channeled speed force energy in quantities that would have killed a normal person instantly. The Earth screamed as proper physics reasserted themselves, as the Batman who laughs corruption burned away, as reality stabilized, and the Dark Multiverse was forced back through its breach points. When Barry emerged, the Batman who laughs was gone, not defeated, not dead, but retreating because this Earth was no longer hospitable to his existence. But where 4 speedsters had stood, There was only golden lightning fatting into memory. Wally, Jay, Jesse, Bart. Names he could barely hold on to now, faces that were already ghosting from his mind. The treadmill pulled him onward. No time to mourn, no time to process. Reality was still dying and every second mattered. Earth after Earth, timeline after timeline. Bari ran through realities where the crisis had never been resolved, where the anti-monitor still consumed universes. He ran through worlds where magic had overwhelmed technology, where Atlantis ruled surface and sea, where the Green Lantern Corps had fallen and darkness claimed the stars. Each Earth required repairs, and each repair cost him more. His costume was burning away, replaced by pure speed force energy barely contained in humanoid shape. His memories were fragments, disconnected moments he couldn't quite assemble into a coherent narrative. He remembered being a hero, remembered loving someone named Iris, remembered a man in a cape who died, though he couldn't recall the details. On Earth 923, Superman found him. Not a corrupted Superman, not a tyrant or a monster. The Superman, the one Bari had tried to save in his original, catastrophically arrogant run. Clark Kent, alive and whole, standing in the center of a repaired metropolis that sparkled under a yellow sun. Bari, Clark's voice was gentle, concerned. What did you do? Bari tried to remember how to speak. Words were difficult now, his thoughts operating at frequencies beyond language. But for Clark, he managed. Fixed. My mistake. At what cost? Clark stepped closer and Bari saw himself reflected in Clark's eyes, a figure more lightning than man, barely coherent, identity dissolving with every passing second. Bari, you're dying, more than dying. You're ceasing to exist. Had to, Bari managed. Broke everything, my fault, my pride. You saved me, Clark said quietly. This Earth, this timeline. We were drowning in dimensional instability, realities bleeding through, and then golden lightning washed over everything and suddenly we could breathe again. That was you, wasn't it? You're running through every fractured Earth, repairing them all. Bari nodded, or thought he did. Physical gestures were becoming abstract concepts. How many left? Clark asked. Bari tried to calculate, but the numbers wouldn't hold still. Hundreds, thousands, can't remember. Clark's expression shifted, the look Bari recognized from 1,000 memories he could barely grasp now, the expression of someone who decided to shoulder an impossible burden because someone had to. Then I'm coming with you. Can't cosmic treadmill, only speedsters. I'm Superman, Clark interrupted. I can fly fast enough to keep up with anything short of the speed force itself. And I've watched too many heroes die alone. If you're going to burn yourself away saving the multiverse, you're going to have company for as long as physics allows. He took flight, matching Bari's speed as the treadmill pulled them toward the next fractured Earth. And for a dozen repairs, maybe 24, Superman flew beside the dissolving Flash, using his heat vision to help burn away dark multiverse corruption, his strength to stabilize dimensional anchors, his Kryptonian endurance to shoulder burdens that would have killed normal heroes. But even Superman had limits. On Earth 1247, while repairing a particularly vicious fracture, Clark's speed finally failed. One moment he was there, the next he was falling, unable to maintain the velocity required to keep pace with the cosmic treadmill's dimensional transit. Bari heard him call out, "Finish it, Bari, save them all," before the distance became too great for even super hearing to bridge. Alone again, but not. Bari could feel them now, every hero who'd sacrificed themselves to buy him time, every speedster who dissolved into the speed force to fuel his run, every person across infinite Earths who believed in the possibility of heroism enough to hope, even in darkness. They ran with him, through him. Their energy merged with his, their memories supplementing what he'd lost, their determination becoming his when his own faltered. The treadmill screamed, Bari screamed with it, reality screamed around them both, but he kept running. 1,000 Earths repaired. 2,000. 3,000. Each one takes more of him, burning away everything that made Barry Allen distinct from pure Speed Force energy. His thoughts were lightning now, his consciousness distributed across infinite timelines simultaneously, his identity a frequency rather than a name. The reverse flash appeared on Earth 3891. Eobard Thawne, the man from the future who devoted his existence to destroying Barry Allen, stood in the center of a fractured timeline and smiled with genuine, terrible satisfaction. "I waited," Eobard said. "Across all the chaos and dissolution, I preserved myself specifically for this moment, because I wanted to watch. I wanted to witness Barry Allen finally achieving what I could never accomplish, perfect, absolute self-destruction in service of heroism. It's beautiful, Barry. You're finally becoming what you were always meant to be, a sacrifice burned on the altar of impossible responsibility." Barry couldn't respond, didn't have enough coherent identity left for words, but the Speed Force responded for him, lightning crackling with fury that transcended individual grudges. "No last words," Eobard laughed. "No heroic speech about hope and justice. You're too far gone even for that. Good, that makes this easier, because I'm going to stop you, right here, right now. I'm going to end your run before you repair the final Earths, and I'm going to make sure the multiverse dies remembering that Barry Allen failed." He moved at impossible speed, reverse flash velocity that was Barry's power inverted and amplified. His hands crackled with negative Speed Force energy, designed to unravel everything Barry had repaired. They clashed at the center of a dying Earth, lightning against lightning, hero and villain, existence and negation. Eobard Thawne had hated Barry Allen for centuries, had devoted infinite lifetimes to destroying everything the Flash represented. And here, finally, was his chance to succeed absolutely. But Eobard had miscalculated, because Barry Allen no longer existed as a target for revenge. He was Speed Force itself now, pure cosmic energy bound by the last threads of heroic will, and Speed Force did not hate. It simply was motion, time, the fundamental force that allowed change and growth and forward momentum to exist at all. When they collided, when Eobard tried to inject his negative energy into Barry's essence, he encountered not a person but a concept, and concepts cannot be killed, only misunderstood. Eobard Thawne screamed as the Speed Force embraced him, not as punishment or vengeance, but as welcome, the prodigal speedster finally coming home. All his hatred, all his rage, all his centuries of obsessive revenge were acknowledged, accepted, and ultimately transmuted into forward motion. His negative energy became just another frequency of the Speed Force, his existence folded into the grand tapestry Barry was weaving. "No," Eobard gasped, feeling his identity dissolving just like Barry's had. "No, I won't. I refuse to become part of your heroic sacrifice." "Not heroic," Barry managed, his voice the crackle of lightning across infinite worlds. "Just necessary." Eobard Thawne, the reverse flash, dissolved into golden lightning and became one more thread in reality's repair. The treadmill surged forward. Fewer Earths now. Hundreds remain instead of thousands. Barry, or what remained of Barry, could sense the end approaching. The final Earth. The last repair. And then 30 seconds to say goodbye to individual existence before he became the Speed Force Foundation permanently. The Dark Multiverse made its final push on Earth 7643. Every corrupted hero, every nightmare variant, every dark god and twisted titan came flooding through dimensional breaches. The Superman who fell, the Wonder Woman who slaughtered, the Green Lantern Corps that served fear, the Darkseid who won, and leading them all the Batman who laughs, his grin wide enough to swallow worlds. "You've come so far," the Batman who laughs said, his voice affectionate and poisonous. "Almost to the end. Almost to the moment where Barry Allen ceases completely and becomes just another cosmic force that heroes worship but never truly know. Poetic, tragic, inevitable, but," he gestured to the horde behind him, "not guaranteed. We are entropy, Flash. We are every way heroism fails, every path where darkness wins. You're trying to repair reality, but reality includes us. So even if you succeed, even if you burn yourself away completely, you'll only delay our return. Eventually, somewhere, somehow, heroes will fail again. And when they do, we'll be waiting. Barry didn't argue, didn't waste energy on words the Batman who laughs wouldn't believe anyway. He simply ran. Directly at them, through them, around them. The cosmic treadmill sang as Barry channeled every remaining fragment of his existence into the Speed Force, transforming himself into a living, burning tsunami of cosmic energy. He hit the horde of dark multiverse horrors like cleansing fire, and they burned. The Superman who fell screamed as golden lightning scoured corruption from his core, restoring the heroic Kal-El beneath. The Wonder Woman who slaughtered wept as Diana's true nature was forcibly remembered, overwhelming the darkness. The nightmare variants exploded into their component realities, torn apart by Speed Force energy that demanded coherence, clarity, and the distinction between real and false. The Batman who laughs was last. He fought hardest, his corruption so deep that burning it away required Barry to sacrifice memories he'd been protecting, Iris's wedding vows, the first time he'd saved someone as the Flash, the moment he decided to become a hero at all. Worth it? The Batman who laughs asked as he burned. Dying so completely that even your name will fade, dissolving into energy so that ungrateful realities can continue existing. Yes, Barry said, and meant it absolutely. The Batman who laughs laughed one final time before golden lightning consumed him and dragged him back into the Dark Multiverse where nightmares belonged. Earth 7643 stabilized, then 7644, then 7645, 7646, 7647. Barry was running through the final Earths now, barely conscious, barely coherent, more Speed Force than person. The cosmic treadmill burned beneath him, reality sang around him, and the multiverse slowly, painfully, beautifully began to heal. One Earth remaining, the Prime, his home, where Superman had died and Darkseid had won and Barry Allen had made the catastrophic choice to refuse loss. The treadmill brought him home. Earth Prime materialized around Barry like a memory struggling to become real. He was home, or what remained of home after the multiverse's shattering had torn it halfway to oblivion. Central City sprawled beneath him, but it existed in a fractured state, buildings phasing between damaged and whole, the sky flickering between the ash-choked aftermath of Darkseid's invasion and the clear blue of a world that had never known such horror. The cosmic treadmill slowed, not stopping. It could never truly stop until the work was complete, but allowing Barry this final moment of recognition. This Earth had been the epicenter of the catastrophe, the reality where his grief and arrogance had exceeded even the Speed Force's capacity to contain. Repairing it would require everything left of him, every remaining memory, every last fragment of identity, everything that made Barry Allen distinct from pure cosmic energy. He could feel them, the people of Earth Prime, existing in quantum superposition between life and death, between victory and defeat. The Justice League that had fallen and the one that had survived. The Darkseid who had conquered and the one who'd been repelled. All of it overlapping, all of it wrong, all of it screaming for resolution. And standing in the center of Central City, waiting with arms crossed and expression unreadable, was Superman. Not a variant, not a corrupted version. The Clark Kent Barry had tried to save, alive but translucent, flickering between existence and non-existence, because this reality couldn't decide if he'd survived or died. Barry, Clark said, and his voice echoed across multiple states of being. I've been waiting. I felt you coming, felt you repairing reality Earth by Earth, burning yourself away to fix what broke. And I've been standing here trying to decide whether to thank you or punch you. Barry tried to speak, couldn't. He was more lightning than vocal cords now, more concept than flesh. Clark continued, his form stabilizing slightly as if Bari's proximity lent him coherence. "You broke reality because you couldn't accept my death, because you loved me, loved all of us, so much that you'd rather shatter infinite Earths than let us fall. That's not heroism, Bari. That's the same tyrannical certainty that corrupts Superman in every dark timeline, the absolute conviction that you know better than the universe itself." The words hit harder than any of the Batman Who Laughs attacks, because they were true. Bari had seen it in 1,000 variations across his repairs. Every Earth where Superman became a tyrant, it started with one impossible choice, one refusal to accept loss, one moment of deciding that his judgment superseded everyone else's freedom. "But," Clark said, and his expression softened, "you also spent yourself completely to make it right. You didn't try to rule the multiverse you broke, didn't use your power to reshape reality according to your vision. You just ran, and burned yourself away second by second until there was almost nothing left except the determination to fix your mistake." He smiled, sad and proud simultaneously. "That's the difference, Bari, between tyrants and heroes. Tyrants refuse to pay the cost of their choices. Heroes pay everything and never stop paying until the debt is settled." Bari's form flickered. He could feel the speed force pulling at what remained of his consciousness, eager to complete the final repair and claim him fully. But there were others here, appearing one by one as Earth Prime's fractured nature allowed them through. Diana materialized, her armor dented and blood-streaked, but her eyes clear. She touched 2 fingers to her heart, Amazon salute to a warrior earning Themyscira's highest honor. "You ran well, Flash. The gods themselves will remember your sacrifice." Bruce emerged from shadows that shouldn't exist, his cape torn and cowl cracked. He said nothing, but his hand moved to his utility belt and removed a batarang, his last one, Bari somehow knew, and placed it on the ground at his feet. The gesture of a soldier marking a fallen brother's grave. Hal Jordan appeared in a construct of green willpower, his ring flickering but functional. "I've seen people overcome fear across the universe, but dissolving yourself across infinite Earths to save them all, that's not just courage, Bari. That's something beyond what most of us can even imagine." Arthur rose from a central city fountain that existed and didn't exist, his trident glowing with Atlantean power. "The ocean remembers everything. Your sacrifice will be sung in our depths for generations." Jaon's phased into visibility, his Martian form solid despite reality's instability. "I felt your mind dissolving, old friend. Every memory sacrificed, every thought burned away. Yet you continued. That is not merely heroism, that is love made absolute." Victor Stone appeared last, his mother box integration stabilizing the area around him. "My tech is reading you as 97% pure speed force energy, Bari. 3% still cling to individual identity. I don't know how you're even conscious right now, let alone capable of one final repair." "Stubbornness," Bari managed, his voice the crackle of lightning across multiple frequencies. "Always was my best quality." Wally West burst through the quantum uncertainty, not the variant from Superman's tyrannical Earth, but Prime's Wally, young and terrified and determined. He ran to Bari's side, tears streaming, speed force lightning crackling around him in untrained, chaotic patterns. "Uncle Bari, don't," Wally begged. "Please, there has to be another way. I'll run. I'll burn myself instead, just." "Has to be me," Bari said gently. "I broke it, I fix it, that's responsibility." "Then I'm running with you," Wally insisted. "For as long as I can, however much it costs, you're not dissolving alone." Bari wanted to refuse, wanted to protect Wally from this burden. But he didn't have enough individual identity left to argue, and the cosmic treadmill was already pulling him toward Earth Prime's core, where the final repair awaited. Wally ran beside him. So did the others, not speedsters, but heroes refusing to let their brother face oblivion without a witness. Superman flew at speeds that bent physics. Wonder Woman called upon Hermes' blessing to match their pace. Flash constructs carried Batman, Hal, Arthur, Jayon, and Victor through the dimensional layers toward Earth Prime's fundamental structure. They ran through Central City, through its quantum states, through the layers of reality that most humans never perceived. And as they ran, Barry began the final repair. Speed Force energy erupted from him in waves, each pulse costing another memory, another fragment of self. He poured power into Earth Prime's fractured vibrational frequency, forcing the overlapping states to collapse into a singular coherent reality. He chose the timeline where Superman lived, where all of them lived, where Darkseid's invasion was repelled at terrible cost, but without absolute loss. Because if Barry Allen had learned anything across his infinite run, it was that heroes survived not through refusing death, but through accepting it when necessary and refusing it when possible. The Justice League watched Barry burn, watched golden lightning consume the man they'd known, the friend who'd made them laugh with terrible science puns, the hero who'd always arrived exactly when needed most. They watched him dissolve second by second, memory by memory, until Barry Allen was barely a whisper of identity within a vast cosmic force. "I'm losing him," Wally gasped, his hand passing through Barry's increasingly transparent form. "Uncle Barry, please hold on." "Can't," Barry said, and his voice was wind and lightning and the sound of inevitable dissolution. "But it's okay, I can. I can feel them, all of them, every speedster who dissolved. Jay and Jesse and Bart and the infinite Barrys who sacrificed themselves. We're all Speed Force now, all connected, all part of something bigger." "You're supposed to survive," Clark said, his voice breaking. "Heroes are supposed to survive. That's what makes it heroism instead of suicide." This time, Barry's form was barely humanoid now, more suggestion than substance. "But that's okay. Because I'm not ending, Clark, I'm becoming foundation, structure. The living speed force that'll hold the multiverse together. Every speedster from now until reality finally dies will draw on power that's partly me. Every impossible run, every last-second rescue, every time someone refuses to give up because speed gives them one more chance, that'll be me too. Not dying, just changing." Earth Prime stabilized beneath them. The fractured states collapsed into a singular timeline. Buildings became solid, the sky cleared, and across the planet, people who'd been frozen in quantum uncertainty suddenly gasped back into full existence, unaware they'd been anything but completely real. The cosmic treadmill slowed, stopped. The run was complete, every Earth repaired, every timeline stabilized. The multiverse held together by Speed Force energy that Barry Allen had woven through its fundamental structure, a living foundation that would endure as long as reality itself. Zura the Monitor appeared, her cosmic form barely contained in three-dimensional space. "It is done," she said quietly. "The multiverse lives, scarred, diminished from what it was, but alive and stable. Well done, Barry Allen. Now comes the price." Barry felt it, the final pull, the Speed Force claiming everything that remained. His name, his face, the last fragments of memory that made him distinct from pure energy. 30 seconds, Zia had promised. 30 seconds to say goodbye before Barry Allen ceased completely. He looked at his friends, his family, and tried to memorize them one final time. Clark's earnest expression, Diana's warrior's pride, Brussa's carefully hidden grief, Hal's defiant hope, Arthur's solid presence, Ja'un's telepathic embrace, Victor's technological bond, and Wally, young Wally, who would carry the Flash legacy forward, who would be better than Barry had been because he'd learned from Barry's mistakes. "Tell Iris," Barry started, then stopped, because he couldn't remember what Iris looked like anymore, couldn't recall her voice or laugh or the way she'd believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself. The memory was gone, burned away, sacrificed to repair some Earth he'd never even visited. Tell her I remembered her until I couldn't remember anything. That has to count for something." "It counts for everything," Clark said firmly. 20 seconds. Tell the world, Barry continued, his voice fatting, that the Flash saved them, not because I was special, not because I was powerful, but because someone had to run, someone had to try, and I was there. I was fast enough, and I refused to stop until the job was done. They'll build statues, Wally said through tears. Monuments, your name will live forever. Don't need that, Barry said. Just be better, all of you. Learn from what I did wrong, accept loss when you must, fight death when you can, but never ever think you're wise enough to reshape reality because you can't handle grief. That's not heroism, that's just fear dressed in Speed Force lightning. 10 seconds. The Justice League stood in a circle around what remained of Barry Allen. They didn't speak, couldn't really, because what words existed for this moment? Instead, they simply bore witness. Heroes honoring a hero. Friends saying goodbye to a friend who'd made one catastrophic mistake and then spent himself completely to make it right. 5 seconds. Barry could barely think now, barely hold onto the concept of I or me or individual existence. The Speed Force was singing, welcoming him home, preparing to distribute his consciousness across infinite timelines as a living foundation. He'd exist in every lightning bolt, every impossible rescue, every moment when someone ran faster than physics allowed because hope demanded the attempt. 3 seconds. Thank you, Barry managed. Not to them, to everyone. Every person across every Earth who'd ever believed heroism mattered. Every speedster who'd dissolved so he could complete the run. Every variant of himself who'd made different choices but tried to be good anyway. Thank you for making it worth it. 1 second. Clark Kent reached out, his hand passing through Barry's dissolving form, trying to hold onto his friend for one impossible moment longer. We'll remember, he promised. All of us. We'll remember what you paid, what you sacrificed, and we'll try, God will try so hard to be worthy of it. 0. Barry Allen dissolved into the Speed Force completely. His consciousness fragmented across infinite realities, his identity dispersed into cosmic energy, his existence transformed from person to principle. The golden lightning that had been his body scattered across dimensions, weaving itself into the multiverse's fundamental structure, becoming the foundation that would hold reality together. And in that final instant, that quantum moment between being and non-being, Barry understood what he'd truly accomplished. Not redemption, not heroism, not even a sacrifice in the traditional sense. He'd learned acceptance, had finally understood that loss was inevitable, death was natural, and the universe didn't require his permission to be what it was. He'd broken reality by refusing to accept Superman's death. He'd repaired it by accepting his own dissolution. And in that acceptance, that final surrender of ego and control and the tyrannical certainty that he knew best, Barry Allen became something purer than hero or martyr or even legend. He became hope itself, the living promise that even when darkness won, even when heroes fell, even when reality itself shattered, someone would run, someone would try, someone would burn themselves away second by second until the impossible became merely difficult and the difficult became achievable. The Speed Force thrummed with his essence, and across the multiverse every speedster felt it, a warmth, a welcome, a sense that they weren't running alone anymore. Barry Allen was with them now, would always be with them, every impossible run, every last-second rescue, every time they pushed past their limits because lives depended on it. The Flash was dead. The Flash was eternal. The Flash had dissolved into lightning and would never truly die. Central City's lightning rod, erected decades ago to protect the city from electrical storms, suddenly blazed with golden energy. And in that light, for just one heartbeat, the people below saw a figure. Scarlet costume, lightning bolt emblem, face obscured by speed and distance, and something approaching divinity. The figure saluted, then scattered into infinite particles of light. The Justice League stood in silence, tears tracking down faces that had seen too much loss, arms around each other because what else could they do? They'd witnessed something profound and terrible, the death of their friend and his transformation into something beyond death. Wally West collapsed to his knees, speed force lightning crackling around him in patterns that weren't random. They were instructed, guidance. Bari's final gift, teaching his successor everything he'd learned, everything he'd become, transmitted through the speed force itself. Wally gasped, his eyes glowing gold, as techniques and strategies and pure heroic determination flooded into his consciousness. "He's still here," Wally whispered. "I can feel him in the speed force, in the lightning, in the space between heartbeats where speedsters exist. He's not gone, he's just different." "All heroes become different," Diana said softly. "Those who survive become legends, those who fall become myth, and those who sacrifice themselves completely." She looked at the dispersing golden light. "They become the stories we tell when darkness seems insurmountable, when impossible odds require impossible courage. Bari Ulan is the story we'll tell about why heroes never give up. Why does someone always run? Why hope endures even in entropy's shadow?" Superman floated down, his feet touching solid ground that Bari's sacrifice had made real again. He looked at his hands, solid, corporeal, fully existing instead of flickering between states. He chose my life over his dissolution. Chose to repair the timeline where I survived rather than any other possibility. I'll spend the rest of my existence trying to be worthy of that choice. "We all will," Bruce said quietly. "That's his legacy. Not monuments or statues or names carved in stone, but heroes pushing themselves harder, refusing to give up, running toward impossible situations because Bari Allen proved that impossible just means nobody's tried hard enough yet." Hal Jordan created a construct, a massive lightning bolt of green energy that would orbit Earth as a permanent memorial. The Green Lantern Corps will remember this across the universe. The speedster who outran death by becoming it. The hero who fixed his mistake by accepting its cost completely. The Watchtower's communication systems suddenly activated, broadcasting across all Justice League channels. Iris West's voice, journalist and wife and widow, speaking with the controlled professionalism of someone who'd spent 17 years documenting atrocity and never losing faith that truth mattered. "This is Iris West Allen with a message that will be broadcast across every reality in the repaired multiverse. My husband, Bari Allen, the Flash, sacrificed himself today, not in battle, not in glorious combat against cosmic evil, but in quiet, absolute dissolution spread across thousands of Earths, repairing what his grief had broken. He made a mistake, the biggest mistake perhaps any hero has ever made, and he spent himself completely fixing it." Her voice cracked slightly, but she continued. "So remember his name, Bari Allen, the Flash. The man who ran so fast he broke reality, then ran faster still to repair it. Remember that heroes are human, that they make mistakes, that arrogance and grief can corrupt even the best intentions. But remember too that true heroism isn't refusing to fall, it's paying whatever price redemption demands and never stopping until the debt is settled." Across the multiverse, across the 4,897 Earths Bari had repaired, people looked up at skis that had stabilized, at worlds that had stopped bleeding into each other, at realities that functioned again, because one man had refused to stop running even as he burned away. They didn't know what had saved them, couldn't comprehend the scale of sacrifice required, but they felt it, a warmth in their chests, a certainty that even when darkness seemed absolute, somewhere in the universe someone was running toward hope instead of away from despair. The Speed Force hummed with satisfaction. Its chosen champion had completed his impossible task, had become a living foundation for reality itself, had transformed from fallible hero into something approaching cosmic principle. And in the space between lightning bolts in the quantum foam where speedsters access their power, Bari Allen's consciousness existed in a distributed state, not individual anymore, not capable of thought in the traditional sense, but aware, present, part of every impossible run from now until reality finally ended. He couldn't remember his name, couldn't recall faces or lives or the specific grief that had started his catastrophic run, but he remembered the feeling, the sensation of running toward danger because someone had to, of pushing past limits because surrender wasn't acceptable, of burning yourself away second by second. After all, the cost of inaction exceeded the cost of dissolution. That memory was enough. That memory was everything. That memory would endure as long as heroes existed to need the Speed Force's power. Thunder rolled across Central City, not the storm variety but the kind that sounded suspiciously like cosmic applause. The sky cleared completely. Birds sang. Life continued. And in the Flash Museum, rebuilt in instant as reality stabilized, a new exhibit appeared spontaneously. It was simple, just a lightning bolt carved from crystal that seemed to glow from within, and beneath it, words that would be read by millions across the years. Barry Allen, the Flash, who broke the multiverse, and burned himself away to fix it, ran until there was nothing left but lightning, and taught us that heroes don't quit, even when quitting means survival. Wally West stood before the exhibit, his costume new and untested, his identity as the Flash barely hours old. He placed his hand on the crystal lightning bolt and felt warmth, Uncle Barry's warmth, transmitted through the Speed Force connection that would never completely fade. "I'll be better," Wally promised. "I'll learn from your mistake. I'll accept loss when I must. I'll honor your sacrifice by being the hero you taught me to be. And I swear on the Speed Force itself, I'll never let your story be forgotten." Golden lightning crackled in response. Not words, not guidance, just acknowledgement. Barry heard, Barry understood, and somewhere in the distributed consciousness that was his existence now, he approved. The multiverse breathed again. 4,897 Earths, each with billions of lives, each with infinite potential for heroism or corruption, all held together by Speed Force energy that had once been Barry Allen. The scars remained. Places where reality had fractured would always be weaker, more prone to dimensional breaches, requiring eternal vigilance. But they endured. In Superman's world, the tyranny softened. Clark Kent, Prime's Clark, the one Barry had chosen to preserve, flew to the regime Earth through dimensional rift and stood before his darker self. No fight, no judgment, just two versions of the same man, one who'd stayed true and one who'd fallen, having a conversation about the weight of godhood and the necessity of remaining human. "He saved you," Dark Superman said, looking at his Prime counterpart with something approaching envy. "Dissolved himself completely to preserve the timeline where you survived. He thought you were worth that cost." "Then I'd better prove him right," Prime Superman replied, and he extended his hand not in combat but in offer. "Come back with me. Help repair what we can. You've ruled through fear for 17 years. Try serving through hope for 17 more. See which one actually saves more lives." The Dark Superman stared at that offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he took it. In Gotham, Thomas Wayne stood before Prime Bruce Wayne, his son in another reality, his ally in this one, and said the words he'd never managed before his death. "I'm proud of you, for never becoming what I became, for staying true when I compromised, for being the Batman this world needed instead of the one my grief created." Bruce Wayne, who'd spent his life being strong for everyone else, finally allowed himself to break, to grieve, to accept that some losses couldn't be prevented and that heroism wasn't measured by who you saved, but by who you kept trying to save even in impossible circumstances. Donna Troy returned to the Resistance with news. Superman was changing, opening prisons, disbanding neural compliance networks, returning freedom to populations that had forgotten what freedom felt like. It would take years, decades, but the tyrant who'd conquered Earth for 17 years was slowly, painfully learning to be Clark Kent again. Bari's sacrifice did that, Donna said, addressing the gathered resistance members. One man dissolving himself across infinite realities convinced Superman that redemption was possible, that change was achievable, that heroes could fall and still find their way back to light. If that's not worth remembering, nothing is. Iris West Allen wrote the story, not for her Earth alone, but for every reality. She documented Bari's mistake, his catastrophic attempt to refuse loss, his shattering of the multiverse. But she also documented his redemption, his impossible run, his absolute refusal to stop until he'd repaired what he broke, regardless of personal cost. The story spread across dimensions, translated into 1,000 languages, told in 1,000,000 variations. And everywhere it went, people understood. Heroes were human. Heroes made mistakes. But heroes also paid their debts, no matter the cost. The Speed Force hummed with Bari's distributed consciousness, content in ways individual existence had never allowed. He existed in every lightning bolt now, every impossible rescue, every moment when speedsters pushed past their limits because someone needed saving. Kid Flash in Keystone City, Impulse in the 30th century, the Flash of Earth 2, all of them drawing on power that was partly Bari Allen, all of them carrying fragments of his heroic determination. He couldn't remember specific faces anymore, couldn't recall individual conversations or relationships or the grief that had started everything. But he remembered the feeling, the absolute certainty that some sacrifices were necessary, some costs were worth paying, some runs had to be completed regardless of what they demanded. That memory echoed across the multiverse. Every time a hero faced impossible odds and tried anyway, every time someone ran toward danger instead of away, every time hope endured in darkness, that was Bari's legacy, more permanent than any monument, more powerful than any memory. The Justice League gathered at the Flash Museum on the anniversary of Bari's dissolution. They stood before the crystal lightning bolt and shared stories, not about the mistake he'd made, but about the man he'd been, about terrible science puns and worse timing, about someone who'd always arrived exactly when needed most, about a hero who'd proven that even catastrophic failure could be redeemed through absolute commitment to making things right. "He's not really gone," Wally said, his hand resting on the crystal, feeling the warmth of Speed Force connection. "Every time I run, I feel him. Every impossible rescue, every last-second save, he's there. Part of the Force, part of the lightning, part of what makes us who we are." "All heroes become eternal," Wonder Woman said softly. "But only a few become legendary. And legends, truly great legends, are the ones who teach us not through perfection but through their humanity, through their mistakes and their redemption, through their absolute refusal to let failure be final." Superman placed a hand on the crystal beside Wally's. "I'll spend my life trying to be worth what he paid. We all will. That's what heroes do. We honor our fallen by being better, by learning from their sacrifices, by carrying their legacy forward into whatever darkness waits." "He'd hate the speeches," Batman said dryly. But his hand joined the others on the crystal lightning bolt, and his voice was softer when he continued. "But he'd love that we're here, that we remembered, that his sacrifice mattered enough for us to gather and honor it. Bari Allen ran until there was nothing left but lightning and legacy. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything." Golden lightning crackled across the crystal, warming beneath their hands. And in that lightning, distributed across infinite realities, Bari Allen felt their presence, felt their love and grief and determination to be worthy of his sacrifice. He couldn't respond, couldn't speak or comfort or tell them everything was okay. But he could run, would always run, through them, with them, as the living foundation of a multiverse held together by one man's absolute refusal to let his mistake be final. The Flash was dead. Long live the Flash. And somewhere in the Speed Force, woven into cosmic lightning that connected infinite realities, Bari Allen smiled, not with a face, not with a body, but with the pure essence of heroic satisfaction that transcended individual existence. He'd broken the multiverse. He'd paid the price. And he'd proven, finally and absolutely, that redemption was always possible for those willing to run far enough, fast enough, and burn brightly enough to light the way home. The multiverse breathed. Heroes ran. Lightning crackled across dimensional barriers. And Barry Allen's legacy endured, not as warning, not as cautionary tale, but as promise that even the darkest mistakes could be illuminated by sufficient sacrifice. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. More stories await.